the Premier League gambling podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. It's brought to you by Shady Rays. Go to shadyrays.com and use code SGPN for 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses. We're also brought to you by the Golf Gambling Podcast's tailor-made Self-2 driver giveaway. Head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/driver to enter the day before the big drawing on April the 8th. And we're brought to you by the Baseball Money is Fake, our fantasy baseball podcast. Join Blake and Ryan 3 times a week. Get all the player breakdowns and statistical data you'll ever need to dominate. Welcome, everybody, to the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Malcolm Bamford, coming to you from a very sunny Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast of England. Today is Monday, the 3rd of April. We're here to have a look back at the weekend, a historically good weekend for me and Baz, and also to handicap 6 Premier League games for Tuesday and Wednesday night, the 4th and 5th of April. The sun shines on the righteous, Baz. I've had to pull the curtains. I've got my new cap on. The merch turned up eventually. I've got my new tit for tat on. How good an advertiser is Shady Rays to have if you've got a northeast accent as well, Baz? That's right in our wheelhouse. How you doing?
I'm all right, mate. I've just had to change my angle because I came on. You couldn't see me because I had the sun blazing in from behind me. Also up in the northeast of England, back in Newcastle for a week or so. Up here for the match yesterday and hanging around with the family for a while. So, back up north. Do
you often change your angle, Baz?
Positively tropical today.
It is positively tropical. Ask your question. Do you often change your angle?
Oh, regularly.
Yeah, regularly. Regular angle changer. What a fucking great weekend that was. It was great for the show. We've made loads and loads of good winning picks. It was great for us personally. We'll try not to, and probably fail, Baz, not to get too excited about Newcastle and take the piss out of Man United and their supporters and good followers like Nick, who was quite magnanimous on Twitter. It was great for our socials. They went crazy, Baz. You've turned into some sort of TikTok maestro as well. So tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably, as you say, it was probably our best show yet. It was packed full of winners. I think there was only one game where one of us didn't hit a winner. But not only did we pick winners, Malcolm, we picked some absolutely brilliant price winners. I mean, you've had
prices were magic.
5-1s, 12, Newcastle 12-1 to win that score, 5-1 for your draw in the Forest game. I mean, we'll come to the games in a bit, but big prices, loads of plus money prices. So really, really good. So yeah, I put a highlights reel out on TikTok yesterday. And it went a bit bonkers. I've got 1,000 new followers on there just in 24 hours. So hopefully a few of them will start tuning in and might be listening to this show. So it's probably important we manage expectations a little.
Yeah. Absolutely.
We aren't always this good. But hopefully people will continue to find the show engaging and we put a few ideas out there that people will like along the way. At the same time, there'll be other ideas we put out there that you think is absolutely ridiculous. But it was good to get loads of engagement yesterday. Lots of people saying it was, how good we'd done. A few accusations that we'd recorded the clip after the events. Despite the fact the evidence is there. YouTube is there from Thursday night. It's on Apple.
That was funny.
It's, everything we put out is put out days before. So anyone that is new, we generally record on a Thursday night and a Sunday night. Today is a little bit later because we were at the match yesterday. Hopefully we'll get a few new listeners out of that. Don't forget to obviously rate, review, subscribe if you are new. That's a big help to us. And if you're joining in the live stream on YouTube, like Captain Insano is now, let us know you're there. Don't be afraid to get in the chat. Let us know your picks for the week and all of that. And also a quick shout out to Big Dave. It's a lad I used to play football with quite a while ago. Who had no idea about the show, but got in touch with me out the blue last night, said he'd stumbled across it. He said he's going to be tuning in going forward. He's been looking in at the Discord channel today. He's the perfect listener. He's signed up on Spotify. He's signed up on YouTube. He's joined the Discord channel. He's getting right involved. So that's what we want everyone doing. More interaction is better. So hopefully Big Dave is tuning in and enjoys his first new show.
Yeah, we need to have a Listener of the Month feature. I reckon Big Dave could be the first one. April 2023, Big Dave, Listener of the Month. You can send him a T-shirt or something, Baz. Yeah, I think you're right about managing expectations. The entire point of this show is that me and you get to sit here and talk bollocks and try and make each other laugh. In the meantime, if you're listening, you can then decide to follow our players, or you can decide that we're idiots and fade our players. But under no circumstances are we responsible for anything. But yeah, we had a great weekend. Really enjoyed the football. We'll get to the Newcastle game later on because we had fun more than anything, which is the entire point, really. But we'll start. We'll have a run through like we normally do. We'll go through the weekend's games as quick as we can, and then we've got 6 games. So yeah, there's 4 games on Tuesday, 2 games on Wednesday. So 6 midweek games. A lot of relegation stuff actually in focus in these midweek games. We lost 2 managers over the weekend, so we will talk about those situations when we get to the games as well. So yeah, lots going on and lots coming up on the show. I'm going to tell you firstly about our new sponsors. They've updated this ad read thing, Baz, and it's where are we? All other shows. Here we go. You think this shit's just thrown together. Underdog Fantasy, a great place to get down on your fantasy and player props all year long. Underdog Fantasy has your favourite NBA, NHL and MLB daily games. Plus, they're already doing best ball drafts for the 2023 NFL season. Head over to underdogfantasy.com, use the promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. That's underdogfantasy.com, promo code SGPN. Okay, so we led back to Saturday lunchtime, where Manchester City 4, Liverpool 1 was the score. It was a bad start for me. I got a bit cute and went on the under, which was never, ever, ever going to hit, it turns out. But Baz, you smashed first decent price winner, over 3.5 goals, and Liverpool continued to be terrible away from home.
Yeah, so I took the over 3.5 and that cruised in, really never looked in danger. I mean, you say you got cute and went with the unders, didn't win that, but you did hit your score a bit on this game.
Oh, shit, I did, I.
Kevin De Bruyne, 100-30, so, 13-8 shot, 100-30 winner. We will forgive you the over, the under 2.5 pick because you hit the scorer. So, yeah, really, really good start to the weekend, that one.
Yeah, I picked that many winners. I'm forgetting them, Baz. I had KDB written at the bottom of my notes here when we go through the parlays and stuff. But yeah, so I did have a winner. Next up, we went to the 3:00 games. Arsenal 4, Leeds 1. Winners all the way. I took both teams to score. I think I was a bit lucky with that actual goal, but I think the pick was spot on because Leeds played really well in the first half and made plenty of chances. And that was the way to handicap. I thought they were good for a goal. When they were 3-0 down, I thought I'd blown it, but they got one. And then you took Arsenal on their handicap, and Arsenal are just rolling along, absolutely rolling, no flinching at all, Baz.
Yeah, I mean, it was looking a little bit ropey. First half hour, Leeds played well, didn't they? And then as soon as the first goal goes in, it just unravelled really quickly. So yeah, they're absolutely flying at the moment. And again, the handicap won with relative ease in the end. So yeah. Good.
And Gabriel Jesus back amongst the goals for Arsenal as well. I've got a little bet with Simmers that Jesus wouldn't score more than 9 goals.
You're in trouble there.
Yeah, I know. Well, maybe no. I think he hangs around by the corner flag too much, and they watch him doing on penalties as well. That annoyed us. I'm not buying it. I tried to claim to Simmers that penalties don't count, but he's not buying it. Bournemouth 2, Fulham 1. This was no help to anyone, Baz, because I took the under 2.5. You took the over 2.5. So I suppose it was helpful to anyone who follows you and not me. Bournemouth are giving themselves a chance, though. Yeah, we've talked them up a little bit, Baz, since January, and the little signings they made. And they're going along well at home. We expected a bit of regression from Fulham. So we did lean Bournemouth, but yeah, you took the overs. But yeah, Bournemouth doing okay.
Yeah, good result for them. I mean, it just shows that, that win takes them out of the bottom 3. Just shows how tight it is down the bottom there. And any team that can make a little bit of a run can get themselves out of it. But just as quickly, you can get dragged back into it if you go and lose 3 or 4 on the bounce. So still really intriguing down the bottom of that division, isn't it?
And the next game onwards was this was fasten your seatbelts time. This is where we started fetching out the fancy price winners. Brighton 3, Brentford 3. My picks were over 1.5 first half goals, 8-5. and then both teams to score in the first half at plus 330. This was all done and dusted by 20 past 3. Lovely stuff. In hindsight, could have gone up the ladder. Both teams to score in both halves would have been a great pick. Normally about 12 to 1, that one. So happy with that. Baz, you took both teams to score, which wasn't very exotic, but it was a winner. A bit of a mad game, this one, because it looks absolutely wide open. Brighton scored a last-minute pen, but Brighton actually battered them for the majority. So yeah, it was a bit of an odd one, but we were happy to take all the goals. And Brighton are very much back on brand, I think, for that.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a bit more Brighton chat when we get to the review of the midweek game, so I'll not go too much into that now. Otherwise, I'll have nothing to talk about later. But yeah, really good game and good picks, as you say. Your first half picks for that were brilliant. And also, I've just have an interruption in the back here. Like, I don't know. Do I turn it up at the club? Yes. That's my mother interrupting the podcast to ask how she turns the air fryer off.
We don't want the air fryer blowing up mid-show, Baz.
What can we do? That's thrown me.
Right.
I specifically told the kids not to come into the conservatory.
You didn't tell your mother?
Didn't feel like I had to tell my mum that she wasn't just made a guest appearance anyway.
Excellent.
Yeah. I'll find me bearings again.
All right, Crystal Palace 2, Leicester 1. This was one where we took opposite sides. I took Leicester, felt quite happy when they went 1-0 up. You took Palace. Actually, I think yours was the right pick as well as the winner, because Palace did batter them. Scored with the very last kick of the game. There was the time to kick off, really. And then the aftermath of that was that Brendan Rodgers got the 9-10 jack, so he's done. But yeah, a good win for Palace. That probably saves them. The one thing they did have in their favour was they had a few points behind them already, so they didn't need to do much. Like, I think they were on 27, got to 30. So they should be okay, and they've got a few other dog shit teams coming up, so they can squeak one more.
That's the one thing I'd said before picking them to win this week, was the turnaround in the games. You know, they have had a rough run of games, and it does turn. They've got a good set of winnable fixtures now. But yeah, I mean, it looks, certainly about from the stats, a dominant game for them. 31 goal attempts, 9 on target, XG 2.5. Look like a really solid. I mean, they had 10 corners in the game as well. Look pretty much one-way traffic. And yeah, nice for me to pick that late winner up in that one. And again, at a decent price, 6-4. Good winner. And
Leicester manager, then obviously that's the end of Rodgers. I haven't really seen anything. We were out in a bit beery on Saturday. I was out in a little bit beery on Sunday. I haven't seen any manager chat today. Have you seen any talk of who's going to take over?
I mean, the first thing I'd seen, well, it's all gone a little bit bizarre, hasn't it? Because one managerial sacking after another twists things, because Spurs get rid of Conte last week and everyone thinks Nagelsmann's on his way there. Then Chelsea sack their manager and everyone thinks, is Nagelsmann now going to go to Chelsea? And meanwhile, when Leicester sacked Rodgers, Rafa Benitez was instantly the favourite. Fast forward 2 or 3 hours, Potter's gone, and now Potter's the favourite for the Leicester job.
Oh, okay.
So it's all sort of chain reaction stuff. So at the moment, Potter's favourite, 5-4. Rafa Benitez, 5-1. John Dahl Thomason, Blackburn manager, 12-1. Hassan Hüttl, Postecoglou, Gerrard, around the 16-1 mark. Quite a few. I mean, a lot of these names just get plucked out of thin air, don't they? So, yeah, where it goes, I don't know. I mean, will Potter just walk straight back into a job, and will he fancy a relegation battle with Leicester? I mean, he's just earned himself absolutely tens of millions for 6 months of work at Chelsea. He might just fancy taking a break for a little bit. So I don't know. I can't see Potter going to Leicester for that, but who knows? He might want to just get straight back involved. But yeah, Rafa Benitez was the other name in the mix, and then could be anyone from there.
Yeah, Leicester have got no money. That's the problem. They're skint. So I don't know. Although Rodgers, Potter, I would say was what they call a project manager nowadays. But I don't know how much of a project they can do without any money, unless he can do the bits and bobs game like he did at Brighton. There's at least £2 fines happened in the comments so far. Captain Insano and Serial, £1 each for baseball chat. We did say last week there'd be £1 fine for any baseball talk in the comments section. Good evening, Serial, by the way, for joining us. Next up, Forest won, Wolves won. I told you that the only possible outcome in this game was a 1-1 draw. There was no other alternatives. I don't know what you were thinking if you didn't back this. The draw was at 21-10. The correct score was at 5-1. It was an absolute no-doubter. Baz, you took the overs. No idea what you were thinking.
I know. I'm kicking myself because I did say in me sort of analysis of it, the first thing that stood out was the both teams to score at evens, and then I got enchanted. I got sort of captured by the plus money on the overs around 13-8, and that was the only thing I didn't get right on Saturday. 6 out of 7 winners. Disappointed because this one also had killed me accumulator, my parlay for the weekend, and saved me sweeping the whole lot, which I'd taken.
Yeah. Did I actually? I looked back at your parlay, assuming it was rubbish. And that was the one that let you down. Yeah, I've got that. It's come in a little while.
As I say, it would have been a clean sweep for me on Saturday otherwise. So a little bit disappointing that. It was probably the least confident play of the week, but unfortunately, you can't hit them all.
Well, we could hit most of them. The next one was a beauty. Chelsea 0, Aston Villa 2. Aston Villa on the money line was the play. I took 4-1, which is a bit disappointing. You got 5-1, even though on the show you went off the ladies' men. You took 21-20 about the 4-1 winner, Baz. But again, we said Chelsea might win, but even if Chelsea did win.
Mark, I took 21-20 was my play, but I also put out Aston Villa as my underdog of the week.
Did you?
At 4-1. So I did put them out there as genuine players on the money line as well. So just putting that out there.
Get off the fence, Baz. Even if Chelsea walked away with a win here, Aston Villa had to be the bet. Like there was no other way to dress this up. Chelsea were completely and utterly unreliable. And trying to get the manager sacked. And Aston Villa had been playing really, really well and had only lost against Man City and Arsenal. Haven't played well in those games as well. So, that was an absolute beauty. On to Sunday, West Ham 1, Southampton 0. I took Southampton, fancy price. They were rubbish. You took Southampton double chance. West Ham were also rubbish. The XG in this was 1.3 v 0.4. You had nothing to talk about. West Ham scrape out the 1-0 win, which will help. This doesn't look good for Southampton at all. And then the main event, Newcastle 2, Manchester United 0. I gave out Newcastle at 7-5. I gave out on the back of the dream, complete with guinea pigs in my pocket. Newcastle to win 2-0 at 12-1. I'll tell you what, Baz, I never in my life was as confident is when I walked into the pub yesterday lunchtime and I sat down and told the lads, we're going to win today. No doubt. And that's not like me. I don't say that about Newcastle. I would say ever. If you listened, any new listeners, if you listen to the builds up to the cup final, I told you 6 weeks in advance that we were going to get absolutely humped, and I was dreading it. I just had a feeling. So I'll tell you about my little bet as well. So obviously the dream was Newcastle 2-0. Joe Linton to score both goals was in the dream. So I put the bet on, I posted it in Discord, 500-1. Had £8.77 on to win £5,500. The team news comes out, Joe Linton's not starting. So I had to cash it out. I thought, right, what are we going to put on? So I put Newcastle win 2-0. Let's pick 2 goal scorers. I picked Joe Willock and Sean Longstaff. 800-1 was the price. Joe Willock scores. We're 1-0 up. I tell you what, my bubble was doing the 5 pence, 50 pence bars. And then the second goal went in, and I reckon it was the sweetest 4 seconds of my life because I didn't know who'd scored that second goal. I was at the other end behind the other goal. So you see the cross come in, a melee of players go up, and someone in a black and white shirt headed that ball in the goal. And for 3 or 4 seconds, it could have been Sean Longstaff. And then I saw the white boot sent towards the corner flag, and it was Callum Wilson. And Longstaff missed so many chances in the first half. So, that was £7,200 incoming for me £8 bet. What a great day. Had loads of fun in the bar. Everyone was buzzing. Man United were shite. We said they were shite. I've said they were shite for 3 months. Anthony's shite. Rashford's shite. The manager's shite. And the fans are shite. But we did say we weren't going to get stuck into them too much, Baz, so I'll leave it there. But it was fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, before I talk about Newcastle, I've got to obviously put my black and white glasses on.
Get them on, Baz.
And with my glasses on, I'm just checking. Yeah, it still says 2-0. I'll take them off again. That's no good.
Where is he? Where's Nick? Get in the chat, Nick, you coward.
We are normally putting this out at 10 o'clock at night, which is possibly more an appropriate time for Nick to join us in the chat. But no, no one have a dig or anything. He was quite fair on Twitter and said best team won. Made a little swipe about the cup final, which is fair enough. We wouldn't expect anything different.
Of course.
But they were poor yesterday. We could have walked away winning 4-5 yesterday, and they could have had no complaints at all. The amount of chances we created. And I go on about that Anthony just frustrates the hell out of me. And he would frustrate the hell out of me as a Man United fan. I talk about it over and over. But he come in yesterday and he got absolutely nothing out of Dan Burn in the first 20 minutes and just moaning and whinging the whole time, diving, rolling around the floor. And then after 20 minutes, I switched him over and put Rashford on the other side. Brought Rashford from the other side. And within a minute, Dan Burn absolutely smashed Rashford. Spins out to the crowd and gives it that. And Rashford got no change out of Burn either. And I think Dan Burn was brilliant yesterday. But there were so many players who did stand out for us yesterday. Bruno Guimaraes, again, Willock, I thought Botman. Trippier was involved in everything, going forward and going back. And really barely give them a sniff. I think they had one shot on target, which was like literally a little pass back from... Yeah. Anthony
it was
the edge of the box. He just floated one into Pope's arms. So they were really disappointing, and their away form has been lately, to be fair. So yeah, I mean, great win for us. I had the little one there, daughter was with us, and I just have to keep telling her, look, it's not always like this. It hasn't been like this in the last 20 years. We've just turned up and watched shit after shit, and you just turned up now, and you're watching us win last minute winners at Nottingham Forest. Because we were both there, and then coming here and watching us beat Man United, which hasn't happened often over the years. So, yeah, really, really good to get to the game this week and enjoy a few beers there. But yeah, good.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's important.
What I said before the game, what it does is, a few weeks ago we were all looking at it thinking Man United were away in third, and everybody else was fighting it out for fourth spot. And what it does now is turn it into a 4 or 5 team race for 2 Champions League positions, because now third and fourth are well up for grabs. Man U, Newcastle, Spurs, Liverpool, Brighton, you would say, are all still in the mix, but we're fighting over 2 places now, where a few weeks ago we probably thought we were 4 teams fighting over 1 place. So it gives us a chance. There's still a long way to go. We could really do as a Newcastle fans, get Spurs getting humped tonight. And I suppose we should mention that game, because anyone that's listening now, we've got a game still to come up that we've already handicapped on the last show, didn't we?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Everton Tottenham starts in 1 hour from now. I took Everton on the money line. Everton at home against the Tottenham team in disarray. You took a side salad bet, didn't you? Everton draw no bet, so the same bet, like a target bet, really, Baz. It's like a real bet, but not actually a real bet.
Just had a
low calorie bet.
Just had a message from another mate of mine, an old school friend who's watching on YouTube, and he said he's just tickled after you made your comment about your bumhole doing the 5 pence, 50 pence.
Well, if it was, it was.
Tuning in, no answer, much appreciated.
Lovely. Right, okay then. So we've got 6 Premier League games to get to this week. A lot of the relegation fodder are involved. We'll get to those after I've told you first about the Golf Gambling Podcast driver giveaway. They've got a tailor-made driver contest. The contest is completely free to enter, and you've got a chance to win an awesome tailor-made driver. The draw will take place on Sunday, April the 8th. So make sure to get in by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/driver. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/driver. Okay, first game on Tuesday is 7:45 kickoff, which is 2:45 Eastern time, between Bournemouth and Brighton. Bournemouth are 19-4 plus 475. The draw is 3-1. Brighton are 4-7 minus 175. Bournemouth up to 16th with that win at the weekend. Although it's mad tight down there, you could throw a blanket over a whole load of teams. Won 3 of their last 6. Really, their only bad performance in ages was that 3-0 defeat at Villa 2 weeks ago, which I faded them at the weekend because I was a little bit concerned about that defeat at Villa. But actually, they bounced back and played well at the weekend. So I'm kind of happy to put that down as a bit of an outlier. And Villa were playing really well. These two teams did play each other on February the 4th, so not that long ago. Brighton won that one 1-0. Brighton come into this in good form. However, the last 3 away games, Baz, drew at Leeds, drew at Palace, drew at Leicester. So identical comps. I like to find a comparison game or two. And these are 3 similar games, aren't they? Away at a team in the relegation fight. Drawn all of those. They've had a really nice run of fixtures, Brighton, as well as they've been playing. I really wanted to take Bournemouth here. However, I was kind of torn because, like I say, I wanted to bet Bournemouth, but all the pointers, Baz, are for the draw at 3-1. Even at points per game, it's home for Bournemouth, and goals per game, points per game and goals per game for Brighton away. It points to the 1-1 again, I know I'm getting a bit fancy after calling Forest Wolves. I wanted to take Bournemouth, but I'm not. I'm going to take the draw, and I'm not putting up a draw, no bet, or a pick 'em on Bournemouth. I'm not buying it. You can do that. I'll take the draw here at a price of 3-1, Baz.
Yeah, I've been hugely impressed with Brighton lately. They just look really dangerous going forward. And the stats in that game were astonishing. 33 shots on goal, 15 of them on target, 6 big chances created, and an XG of 4.5. And I spoke about it last week, how they spread it around a lot. You've got March, McAllister, Mitoma, Welbeck, all contributing. Ferguson, even Undav when he coming in with a goal. So they spread it around a lot. And an astonishing fact this weekend that I read was that for the first time ever in a Premier League game, apparently, all 10 outfield players for Brighton had at least 2 shots on goal.
No way. That's incredible.
I had to go and check it. I didn't believe it. But I went on the app, had a look, and sure enough, every single Bournemouth player, apart from the goalkeeper, had 2 shots on goal. And the goalkeeper actually got an assist for one of the goals.
But Brighton, did you say? Not Bournemouth.
Sorry, Brighton, yeah.
Yeah.
Wrong again, sorry. Luke Steele, the keeper, was involved as well because he did set up one of them. But yeah, that's astonishing. I didn't 2 shots on goal from every single player in the team. Mad. I took both teams to score in the Brighton game on Saturday with success, and I took over 2.5 in the Bournemouth game. So got both of those teams right. Brighton will be disappointed to come away with a draw, as you say. It was a late equaliser, but they created so many chances in their game. Bournemouth, on the other hand, will be delighted with that win over Fulham. As I said before, it moves them out of the bottom 3. And once again, just highlights how tight it's going to be down there. So, where am I going for a bet? I think the starting point for me, again, is just like it was for these 2 teams at the weekend. It's goals. Brighton Trent went through a little patch recently where we were saying they were underperforming against the XG, creating loads of chances and struggling to score. I think they went through sort of 3-4 games where they were scoring 1 goal a game with an XG of like 3 or 4. But that swung right back round. They scored 3 at the weekend. Previous to that was Grimsby, fair enough, but they put 5 past Grimsby. Just the 1 past Palace, but put 2 past Leeds, 4 past West Ham. And they've now got they've had the luxury of 4 out of 5 games at home, which, as you say, helps because their away form isn't as good. But still, they've scored 15 in the last 5 games now. 4 of them were at home, but they are firing. I think Bournemouth will be happy with their current form. As you say, they picked up 9 points from the last 6. And as you say, they're not losing against bad sides, apart from that Villa game. Before that, they lost to Brighton in this reverse fixture. Man City, Arsenal. Games against really good teams. Take those tricky games out, and they're performing quite well. And they've managed at least a goal. They've only failed to score once in the last 6, and they've managed at least a goal against Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City. So there's no reason to suspect they can't get involved yet, especially, Brighton can concede goals. So the first pick that stands out, main players, they're over 2.5. It's at 4 to 5, so minus 125. It's hit in 4 of the last 5 games for both teams. I just think it's an obvious route to go here. If you want to be a bit more ambitious, then the play for me is Brighton goals. I knew probably won't like it because you don't like the away form, but over 2.5 at 2-1, I think it's ambitious, but it's not without hope. I'm just thinking this could be something like a 3-1, 3-2 Brighton for me, with them creating so many chances each week, and Bournemouth are still the worst defensive record in the league. Let's not forget. I could just see Brighton hitting a few. So over 2.5 goals at 4-5, and Brighton to score 3 or more goals at 2-1. I just think that there's chances there. I mean, even as you say, Brighton's away form recently, they scored 2 away at Leeds, 2 away at Leicester, Middlesbrough in the Cup, they scored 5, Everton away, they scored 4, Southampton away, they scored 3, scored 3 away to Arsenal, Wolves scored to get 3. So there's plenty of form there away from home still, where they are putting goals up. So yeah, I'm happy with that. I'll take both of those bets, over 2.5 goals, and Brighton to score the 2.5 goals that we need.
Your analysis is every game all that long, Baz, because freaking people have got stuff to do. That was a solid 7 minutes. That was.
Yeah, I like that game.
Okay, then over. Right, we'll move on to same kickoff time. Leeds against Nottingham Forest. Leeds are 3-4 minus 133. The draw's 13-5 plus 260. Forest are 7-2 plus 350. Would you like this one as much, Baz, or can we get this one in before it gets dark?
Yeah, Leeds to win 3-4. Cheers.
Oh, don't have a strop. Come on, tell us why.
No, I mean, Leeds took a bit of a battering, didn't they, from Arsenal at the weekend, but apparently played quite well for the first half hour. Once Jesus scored the penalty, it unravelled a little bit, but prior to that, they'd had a couple of decent results with a win over Wolves 4-2 and a decent draw against Brighton, which you would take in the form Brighton are in. The home form's okay. They've only 1 defeat in the last 6. Unfortunately, they're coming up against the worst away team in the league in Forest. Forest have had 5 defeats in the last 6 away games. The only point was a draw away to Bournemouth. And it's just 1 win for them in 11 games overall here. I mean, that did come, ironically, in the reverse fixture here where they beat Leeds 1-0 at home. I think, as I said last week, I think the season's really began to unravel for Forest since that Leeds win. And for me, Leeds are a price I could get on board with. It's a little bit short at 3-4. But Forest really don't look like beating anyone at the moment. And whilst Leeds aren't in the best of form, the home form's decent. Recent defeats have been away to Chelsea, away to Arsenal, away to Everton. All tricky games. And a home defeat to Man United. So tricky run of games recently. Perfect one for them here, with Forest being awful on the road. So yeah, Leeds to win at 3-4. I wouldn't put anyone off Leeds to score 2 or more as well, 5-6. They scored 2 against Brighton. No, they didn't. Yeah, scored 2 against Brighton, 4 against Wolves. Managed a goal against Arsenal at the weekend. And Forest have conceded 2 or more in 7 of the last 10 games, and 4 of the last 5. So yeah, Leeds to score 2 or more also appeals at 5-6.
Well, I can go a bit short on this. I've got the same pick, Baz. Leeds to win on the money line, 3-4. Not very original, not going to win many prizes, but Forest away is shambles. That big lad at the back who gave the penalty away against us, I like his technique is really, really peculiar. Like, he did some very odd things at the weekend again. The Forest's last win in the Prem was 8 games ago against Leeds, as it happens. So yeah, Leeds are doing okay, but I just think Forest away are a different team. You're handicapping 2 different teams, Forest home and Forest away. So yeah, I'll take Leeds, mate. I agree with you. Next up, we'll go to managerless Leicester City, who take on Aston Villa. The prices are Leicester 6-4, plus 150. The draw is 23-10 plus 230. Villa 9-5 plus 180. There's some games, Baz, you just look at it, especially, I said to you just before we started, right, I said off air, I feel like a bit of a fraud, because after a good weekend, I don't feel like I've got to put any effort into making the picks, because I just think I know it all. Like, I saw these teams at the weekend, I was right about them all. What's changed now? Like, I look at the names and I know who's going to win, Baz. I don't have to put any forethought. I mean, I have done for the new listeners. Don't think I'm just throwing this together. However, the prices are mad here. They're totally and utterly the wrong way around for a start. You're nodding away. I think you probably reached the same conclusion.
Yeah.
How Leicester can be favourites in Villa are the Dogs. They've got no new manager. There was a terrible result and performance at Palace at the weekend. Villa were in great form before the Chelsea game and then went to Chelsea and won and played really well and got us a 4-1 or a 5-1 winner if you're Baz. And they can only be full of confidence. Easy pick, Aston Villa, 9-5 plus 180, please.
Yeah, same conclusion. I mean, it's 5 defeats out of 6 for Leicester, 6 in 7 if you include the cup game. And some really concerning defeats in there for Leicester. You consider they lost to Blackburn in the cup, they lost to Palace, Southampton. Games where if you can't win them, you're in the relegation shit, aren't you? And that's where they are. Obviously, Rodgers is gone, but I just don't think that'll matter here. Villa are hitting a really good run of form, 4 wins from 5. And even on the road, it's not making much difference. They had a good win against Chelsea at the weekend. They had a 2-0 win against Everton recently away from home. They're actually the only team to win at Goodison since Dyche arrived, with Everton winning the other 3 1-0. So the away fixture doesn't worry me here. And I just think they're a great price. I said exactly the same way I wrote down. I'm amazed they aren't favourites for this game. I don't see how Leicester can be favourites for this match at all. So I'll take Villa on the money line at 9-5. If you're looking for a slightly safer play to stick in your accumulators, then 10-11 draw no bet would also appeal. But I'm confident enough to take Villa here at 9-5. I think it's a good bet for me. So yeah, team ride. Team
ride on the Villa, up the Villa.
And Serial's just put in the chat as well. Villa draw no bet plus 100. So he's looking at that also. Yeah, for me, I'm confident enough to take him. But it's not. I don't mind that at all. I can't see Leicester winning it. So if you want the insurance of the draw no bet, then don't let me put you off.
Yeah, Serial must be on a diet as well. 8 o'clock kick-off, 3 p.m. Eastern time between Chelsea and Liverpool. Chelsea are 6-4 plus 150. The draw is 12-5 plus 240. Liverpool 9-5 plus 180. This was far too difficult for me, Baz, so you can do it.
Yes, I said to you beforehand, I said I found these games all right this week, with the exception of Chelsea v Liverpool was the one where I struggled a bit. And you said the same to me. You said it could be 4-0 to Chelsea, it could be 4-0 to Liverpool, or anything in between, and nothing would particularly surprise you in that. Got to be a bit careful, because if Big Dave is tuning in for the first time, he's a Liverpool fan, so let's not upset the Scousers too much.
Oh, you didn't tell me that, Baz. That listener of the month has been revoked. I can't hand that out to Big now. Sorry, Dave. You're off the list. You're gone, son. Gone. Get out.
Battle of the underachievers, this one, isn't it? Based on the current standings. Certainly off their expectations at the start of the season. They've both hugely underachieved this year. Liverpool coming at the back of it off 3 straight defeats. Bournemouth, Real Madrid and Man City. They've been quickly brought back down to earth, haven't they? After the highs of the 7-0 over Man United, that didn't last long. Well beaten against City the other day in a fixture which historically they've had the edge in over City. They didn't lose many, and just was comfortable for City on Saturday. I think you could really see how far off they've dropped this year. They're also really struggling on the road. Just 2 wins in the last 10 away games, and 7 defeats in the last 10 away from home. That's absolutely unbelievable, isn't it, for a team like Liverpool? But yet, they still find themselves 4 points above Chelsea and have played 1 game less. Potter's gone, as we know. Chelsea were trying to get him sacked, we thought. They turned up in the Champions League when they wanted to. Played really well against Dortmund, but reverted back to being absolute garbage. On the weekends in the Premier League, Potter's gone, so we'll start playing for whoever the new man is. I've got Bruno in charge at the moment temporarily. Don't know much about him. I'm assuming he was just one of. He was an ex-Brighton player, wasn't he, Bruno? So he must have been one of Potter's men who's remained behind to hold fort for a while. They've failed to beat Villa at the weekend, failed to beat Everton last week, and that was obviously enough for Chelsea to pull the trigger. Just 2 league wins in the last 9 games, and they were against poor opposition in Leicester and Leeds. I mean, Villa beating Chelsea the other day was one of our highlights of the week. As I say, they went off at 5-1. I didn't see the game, but it looked like Chelsea did create enough. 27 shots on goal, 8 shots on target. They had an XG of 2.28, but a goal scored of 0. And it's the lack of a striker, which is a real problem for them. So, 2 teams not in form. 2 teams hugely underachieving against their expectations. It's hard to back either of them with any confidence. So I'm going mainly on the prices here, looking for a little bit of value. And again, I'm not sure Chelsea should necessarily be favourites here. I think Liverpool at 9-5 would appeal to me more than Chelsea at 6-4. So I would have a slight lean towards Liverpool if I had to pick one. I mean, I have to say this is probably my least confident play of the week. It's purely a hunch on the fact that I think Chelsea are playing worse than Liverpool. I mean, even that's probably possibly debatable. But I'm going to take Liverpool to score 2 or more goals. It feels a bit wild when you consider they've only scored 1 in the last 3. But I think they might win this. And when they have won recently, the last 4 wins have all come with them scoring 2 goals along the way. And it's at plus money, 11-8. So Liverpool to score 2 or more for me at 11-8 is the bet. And as I say, probably my least confident bet of the week. But sometimes those ones still pay off. So we'll see how it goes. What you got?
Yeah, well, I've copped out effectively. It was too hard to take a side of the 3 possible outcomes. Like you said, anything could happen, and you'd come away saying, yeah, that figures. So I just thought that both teams here will play with a handbrake off, because Liverpool always do. I mean, they got ahead at the weekend against Manchester City, and you said Chelsea had a lot of shots on target. So I copped out and took over 2.5 goals. I think both teams just go for it. There's no reason not to, frankly. They've got nothing to play for effectively. Liverpool could possibly squeeze back into the top 4 if loads of things fall their way. And Chelsea will just have that little bit of freedom. I think the players wanted rid of Potter. So, yeah, both teams with a handbrake off and give me over 2.5 goals. It's at 4-5, minus 125. So I kind of had the same feeling as you, Baz. Liverpool could win this 2-1 and we'll both cash. So, yeah, that's the way I'll look at it. Next up, we go to Wednesday. There's 2 games on Wednesday night, both 8 o'clock kickoffs, which is 3 p.m. Eastern time. First, it was Manchester United against Brentford. Man United 11-17, minus 153. The draw at 3-1, Brentford at 4-1. Again, it was a relatively brief handicap, really, for me. Oh, well, there's a couple of things I ruled out. First one, there's no way I'm back in that shower of shit at 4-6. You just can't trust them. Like, they haven't scored in the league since February the 19th, Baz. That's months ago. They've got no Casemiro. They're just totally and utterly untrustworthy. And like we say a lot, they might win. Absolutely, they might win. But if you're backing them at 11-17, minus 153, you want shot with shit like. Brentford lost once in 16 Premier League games. That's insane. That's just kind of stat you'd roll out for Arsenal and Man City and stuff, not Brentford. I really wanted to take Brentford as a dog. But they do draw a lot of games, Brentford, and Manchester United nearly always get away with it. So I'm going to take the draw here. I think Brentford will get in front, and then something terrible will happen. They'll get a spawny penalty, 83rd minute equaliser. This will finish 1-1. But I'm going to take the draw 3-1, Baz.
Yeah, I mean, that stat about them not scoring in the league for going back that far is absolutely ridiculous. I've just had to check that because I didn't pick up on that.
Yeah, it's good.
That's bizarre. Absolutely bizarre. Because isn't Rashford on form?
Oh, he's brilliant. Great. Absolutely brilliant. What a player.
You listen to certain Man United fans. Anyway, I mean, I'm along similar lines to you. It's 3 without a win for them now, with 3 without a win in the league, that should say, with defeats away to Liverpool and Newcastle and a draw at Southampton. They didn't play it well against Fulham in the Cup either. That was the win in the middle of it. That game really turned on its head, didn't it, with the one incident where the penalty and 2 reds just turned it on its head.
Yeah, I didn't even look at that game. There's another one you could throw in there. Yeah, totally right.
Their home form, you can't trust them in a way because they remain unbeaten in 23 games at home. And it's only 3 draws in that time. So they've had 20 home wins in the last 23. I think their form has dropped off massively in recent weeks, though, so you have to caveat that a little bit. I mean, but Brentford, as you say, come into this in great form. 1 defeat in 15 league games. They do have a lot of draws in there, which helps you out, particularly on the road, where it's 4 draws in the last 8 and 6 in the last 12 for Brentford. So all plays into your hands. And I mean, regular play for me until recently, when Man U at home was just back the team total or back the handicap, or we were backing them to win to nil for a while when they went on a good run of that. And whilst I think Man United could score 2 here, it's far too short today at 8-13. And then I looked at the handicap for Man United. It's better priced at 13-8. They've won 5 of the last home by 2 goals or better. But having watched them yesterday, I can't bring myself to back them to win comfortably against a decent Brentford side who aren't losing very often, and who a team who have scored 7 in the last 8 games. You know, in each of the last 7 games they've scored, only one shut out. They've actually only failed to score, Brentford, in 2 of the 13 games since the World Cup. So I'm similar to you. Everything I look at from Man United, I can't back at the prices. It's too short given the form. So as I say about Brentford scoring, the score in most games, they're not being kept out very often, and that's the stat I've decided to follow. Man United aren't keeping clean sheets as frequently now as they were. Only had 2 in the last 7. And even at home, Leeds, Fulham, West Ham, Palace have all got at least a goal against them. So give me the both teams to score. It's a little bit short at 7-10, but I can't have anything to do with any of the Man United bets. In the form they're in, as you say, they might go out and win comfortably. But I'd be confident Brentford can get on the score sheet here and take the both teams to score to cash. So both teams to score at 7-10 is the pick for me in the Man United v Brentford game. Yeah,
just when you started handicapping that, Baz, I had a look at the other markets, and both teams to score jumped out immediately, like at 7-10. So yeah, I completely agree with you that if you're taking Man United on the handicap in that game, yeah, you shouldn't be allowed money. That would be my opinion on that one. Final game of the midweek is West Ham against Newcastle, 8 o'clock kickoff again. West Ham United to the home puppies, 13-5. What's that? Plus 260? Plus 230. Draw is 9-4, plus 225. Newcastle are 15-13, plus 115. Bazza, West Ham, Newcastle.
Yeah, so I mean that win of the weekend was an important one for West Ham, wasn't it? 1-0 against Southampton. We both, I think it was the only game actually where neither of us picked a winner out of the whole weekend one. So yeah, we both went with Southampton, and it looked like a really shit game with West Ham edging it. Home form's okay for West Ham despite their recent struggles. It's sort of 4 games unbeaten. And I think they've had 4 clean sheets in the last 6. Is it 4 games unbeaten? That might be wrong. Might be making stats up off the top of my head here.
Beautiful.
So sometimes you read stats and then think that doesn't sound right. That can't be right. So I'm going to check their recent home form for West Ham. Yeah, they're in decent form. 4 wins from 6 actually. 6 games unbeaten at home. Caveat. I mean, 2 of those were Europa Conference League or whatever they call it. But yeah, they've had a pretty good run of fixtures as well. That recent run of form at home, they haven't played anyone in the top half. I think Villa are top half now, but they weren't at the time where Villa went there and drew 1-1. Chelsea are probably the best side they played recently. They drew with them. But again, Chelsea are no longer in the top half either. The wins are, as I say, they're coming against teams like the beat Forest, Southampton, Everton, Larnaca twice in the Europa Conference. I'd completely forgotten that West Ham were in that competition, which tells you how insignificant it is for anyone but the fans of the teams who are in it. And that's not a dig at West Ham. As a Toon fan, we'd be delighted with some random European away days in that tournament. I'd take it any day. But yeah, I totally forgot that thing was still going on. Newcastle getting back in the stride, 3 wins on a bounce. They scored twice in each of them. And despite me always being sort of slightly pessimistic with Newcastle, I'm starting to get my confidence back where Newcastle are concerned. We don't have to go back far for the last game between the two, a 1-1 draw at St James's Park in February. Newcastle were fairly uninspiring that day, which came in amongst a 6-game winless streak for us. We were without Bruno for 3 of that 6-game streak, including this game. And his return's been pivotal for us, as has the turnaround in form and the return to fitness of Isaac. I think the bonus for Newcastle this week, with a quick turnaround for us, Sunday to Wednesday, is the return to fitness of players like Wilson, Gordon. We've got Joe Linton back from suspension. I thought our bench yesterday was the strongest it's been for as long as I can remember. Wilson, Gordon, Joe Linton, Elliot Anderson, all in there, who are able to just step straight into that team if needed. I suspect Almiron will still be missing. But otherwise, I think we've got a strong lineup if we do need to make changes. I fancy us to carry on here, Mal. I think 23-20 isn't bad for Newcastle. But as I said before, we've scored 2 in each of the last 3. We could have scored 4 or 5 yesterday easily with the amount of chances we'd created. And I'll take us to do the same again. 2 or more goals for Newcastle at 6-5 is the bet for me. So plus 120. Newcastle to score 2 or more. That's a pick for me.
Do you think if we score twice, Baz, we don't win?
If we don't score twice, do you mean?
No, if we do score twice.
Sorry? If we do score twice?
If we score twice, do you think we'll win?
Tomorrow?
Yeah, on Wednesday.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's not on a bigger price then.
No.
Plus 120.
Plus 120.
Good. Hashtag maths.
I think we win if we score twice, but it doesn't, you know.
No, you're right. You've got a safety net, but we might get beaten 9-2 by.
I've got the 2
dancing all the way to the bank. I handicapped the key point was the point that you made, Baz, which was the strength of the bench and the ability to rotate if they had to. In the names you mentioned from yesterday, Gordon, Joe Linton, Wilson. Murphy's come in and played well. So yeah, West Ham did win, but were poor. And I think anyone watched those 2 games yesterday, you can't do anything but come down on the side of Newcastle. I thought we were well coached, we were well drilled. They were back to the way they played, and that's not happened by accident. I think they're an absolutely outstanding price. 15-13, plus 115. So yeah, completely and utterly. And it's not a home player. You can put your glasses back on if you want. Nick can tell us, but I just think Newcastle are going to win. So yeah. So that's that. 6 games handicap, Baz. I've got a scorer, a dog, and a parlay. Did you fetch anything out?
I've got one of each of those as well, yeah.
Okay. I'll lead off with my goal scorer then, Baz, because it's back to a name that I rode for just about the entirety of January and February, but we haven't seen him for a little while. Darwin Núñez is back for all the Liverpool fans. There's one for Big Dave, look. I think this could be anything. Like we said, this Chelsea-Liverpool game could be absolutely anything. And he's just always dead lively. I like him. He's a load of fun. He's back to a good price again. He's plus 240, 12-5. So I'll take Núñez. What have you got?
Goal scorer. I've gone back to the Brighton game, which is a game where I can see goals. So that's always my starting point. Where do I think there's going to be plenty of goals again? And who do I pick from there? And I've gone back to the well with Solly March again. I took him at the weekend. And I went the wrong way because for me at the minute between Brighton, it's March, Mitoma or McAllister. The M people, I'm going to call them for those 80s fans.
What have you done today to make you feel proud?
He's 15-2 for first goal and 3-1 anytime. I think 3-1's a great price. I'd said before the weekend he'd scored in 3 on the bounce. He's involved lots. He had at least 2 shots on goal at the weekend because everybody in Brighton.
They all did.
So yeah, he's involved enough for me in a 3-1 for an anytime scorer. Solly March for me.
Okay, my dog, could only be Aston Villa. Insane. It's like finding money in the street. Is yours the same?
So the same, nothing fancy, but it's Villa. They just should not be underdogs for this game. Villa at 9-5 is the underdog pick for me as well. Team
okay.
Right.
Concur. And for my parlay, I love this one, Baz. It's the 2 draws. I've got 2 draws on my card, so I'm going to double them up. Bournemouth, Brighton to draw, 3-1. Manchester United, Brentford to draw, it's 3-1. A little 15-1 double there, Baz. Yeah, all over that.
Yeah, so I've picked a little 3-team accumulator, 3-team parlay out. I've gone first with Newcastle to score 2 or more, Leeds to win, and over 2.5 goals in the Bournemouth v Brighton game. Comes in at around 6-1 plus 600. That's easy enough for me. Newcastle to score 2 or more, Leeds to win, and overs, Bournemouth v Brighton, 6-1.
Champion. We've just had a spike in YouTube watches, just in time for us to say bye to everyone. So thanks for joining us, new people, for the last 30 seconds. Baz, anything you need to tell the people before we crack on?
We're 5 minutes under our usual hour, Malcolm, so we might as well have a little bit of...
That's because you handicapped Leeds v Forest for 25 minutes earlier on. Oh, sorry, Bournemouth Brighton. That's what that was.
Would have been done 10 minutes ago otherwise. Bit of sack race, because I like the sack race odds. Obviously,
you do like the sack race. 3
managers in the last week. Do you think anyone else gets sacked this season? If you look at the odds, I'm assuming there's only 2. There's only 2 more, potentially. Because
the Forest bloke.
Can you believe this? The third person in the betting to get the sack. It's not the sack, is it? It's next manager to leave their post.
Yeah.
So I suppose the reason for this, the third in the betting is Thomas Frank. So
yeah.
I can only imagine that's in case Chelsea come poaching him or Spurs come poaching him, which possibly makes a bit of sense. Because I was thinking, why is Thomas Frank in there? But it's to leave their post. You've got favourites, Steve Cooper at 11-10, Moyes at 5-2, and then we're into double figures. Thomas Frank, Lopetegui, Ruben Sellers.
Lopetegui. That's particularly badly pronounced, that, Baz.
Well, what do you want to call him?
Lopetegui.
Well,
Lopetegui. Jesus, that was one for Simmers. That big fat tongue.
Do you reckon anyone else goes? I think.
Nah.
I said a few weeks ago, I thought if Forest get themselves into that bottom 3, and they think they can get themselves out of it by making a change, I don't think they'll show any more loyalty to Steve Cooper. It wouldn't surprise me if he goes. But 11-10, I wouldn't be having any of that. I think Moyes is also a little bit short, because I think West Ham will have enough to stay up, and if they stay up, he'll keep his job, I think. Nothing stood out for me. I was interested to see whether you think that's us done for sack race.
Yeah, I think so.
You think that's it? Nobody else goes?
Nah.
It's got to be, hasn't it? Has there been a year recently? I'd be interested to know. We haven't even played 30 games yet. There must be a manager sacked after 30 games every year. Must be.
Yeah, there's stuff like when a team's gone down and there's 1 week left of the season, they sometimes get rid.
I suppose we've had 3 at this stage, which possibly just a little bit earlier than it might ordinarily have been. But yeah, Thomas Frank at 10-1. Who's going to go over him? Whoever doesn't get Nagelsmann.
I think you'll stay, man.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, agreed. Well, there you go. Cheers for that, Baz. Thank you, everyone, for joining in. If you are a new listener, thank you very much. If you're an old listener, thank you very much as well. Cheers, everyone, in the comments on the YouTube. Thursday night, what time? 8:30, Baz?
8:30 Thursday night. Yeah, we'll be covering all the Premiership games. I'm assuming we've got a full slate again this weekend. It's not FA Cup this weekend, is it?
No, not for a little while.
Yeah, we'll be full Premier League slate again. And then, Thursday night, 8:30. And we're normally on Sundays at 10 o'clock, where we'll be covering all the midweek. So whether that's, if you are a new listener, we don't just cover the Premier League. If there's midweek, Champions League, Europa League, we covered the internationals. We've covered the EFL, League One and League Two recently. So we'll cover anything that's going on, really, won't we, Malcolm?
100%, yeah.
We'll always be around Thursdays and Sundays usually. This week was an exception with the Monday night show going out tonight.
Yeah, so track us down and like I say, give us a like, a follow, a rate, and a review. Get in the Discord channel, get on the YouTube channel, all those kind of things. It's fun and it's helpful. But yeah, we hope you enjoyed the show. We hope you have some winners. We hope Everton gets stuck into Tottenham tonight. We'll be back on Thursday. And until then, we'll see you down the road. Cheers.